you. Another good morning, time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
Welcome to the 3x5 Life podcast. Jessie.
So exciting. Wait, I love that. Say that again.
What?
Welcome to the 3x5 podcast.
Oh, there we go. I like it. Good job.
All right.
So this is going to be a longer kind of like the Jessie Bryan story, but traditionally moving forward, we're going to have shorter podcasts, nuggets of information, one thought, and 3 to 5 minutes is going to be the platform for the most part. But today we thought as the first one, we'd do introductions, learn a little bit about us, our backgrounds, so the audience kind of can know where we're coming from.
Love it. So anytime that I introduce myself, whether I'm doing like a talk or I'm doing a grad class, I like to just give a little bit of information about my story and how I started, I guess for me, my wellness journey, which has been quite a long one. When I was growing up, I suffered from irritable bowel syndrome and I had debilitating migraines for the majority of my childhood. I was on different types of medication. Never once did the conversation of food come up when I was going through all these treatment plans. And it really wasn't until I was, battling through this all the way through college until I started to think about the power of food. And in fact, I actually had read a book by Chris Carr, who became kind of my wellness warrior way back. And she started to talk about how she had healed herself from cancer using food. And so I did what was called kind of an elimination diet, where I took everything out of my diet and then reintroduced different pieces back in until I kind of figured out what worked well for my system and my body. At the time, Bryan and I were dating, and I completely eliminated everything and kept to a plant-based diet, pretty strict for a really long time. This isn't about being plant-based. For me, that's just what worked really well for my body. And in fact, when I talk to people about diet and nutrition, I always say there's not like a one-size-fits-all diet. You really have to figure out what works best for your body, whole foods, things that are clean. I think that's way more important than necessarily if you eat meat or you do not eat meat. But for me, it was a turning point because I felt so good. I had energy. My skin looked better. I got off of both of my medications. And I just felt like I was given this gift, and it sparked in me this passion that was so fierce. And I started to learn as much as I possibly could, as quickly as I possibly could. And then it transferred into all these other areas. So I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is a holistic health coaching program out of New York City. And I learned so much. I went through a year coaching program there. At the same time, I started to get my yoga teaching certification. I went into this program called Mindful Schools, which is a mindfulness education type program. And all of this at first was this self-awareness journey for me. I was just trying to help myself be the best version of myself. But what tends to happen, and something that I'm so excited about when we do work like this, is that immediately then starts to pour out to others.
Yeah.
And the ripple, right? And in my classroom, I was a middle school science teacher. I have a biology background for 13 years. And I started to bring meditation to my middle schoolers, specifically my emotional support population kiddos. I was doing yoga with them. I bought a whole bunch of yoga mats and would bring it in and we do yoga.
Garden.
We did the organic garden project. And I was just so passionate about helping them in their wellness journey too, that then it started to get noticed by the teachers in my building. And so I became an educational consultant, and now I work with schools across the country, specifically with educators and just stress management, self-care, wellness, all these areas that are those puzzle pieces and those building blocks that just make us, feel as good as we possibly can, because that's the goal. And so fast forward, Bryan and I have always been really great at self-awareness and our journeys and, always trying to improve. And sometimes I feel like we've been on like parallel paths and right. And then
yes.
this 3x5 life came into our psyche, and we were so excited about it. And we recognized that together we have this really unique skill set. And I think that that's what is, I don't know, what I'm most enthused about with this project.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't know if you wanted to talk about what was going on with you while I was going through this crazy health journey. To
say you had an impact on me is an understatement. So, I mean, I guess 10 years ago-ish, I started to really explore betterment, self-improvement, and just becoming aware of I needed to stop walking through life. In my 20s, I was walking through life. I was partying hard. I wasn't taking my career seriously. And then something shifted, and Jessie was a huge part of that shift. Obviously, I wanted to show up as my best self for what would be my future wife. But, you know, she introduced diet to me, and a lot changed once I went plant-based. So I did kind of she'd always cook for me.
I would.
Yes. And then I would just add my meat of choice above her, on top of her quinoa bowl.
Yes. Yes.
And then I would do client dinners, and I'd eat whatever they had and whatnot. So out of just sheer curiosity, I went 30 days plant-based, and I had more energy. I was sleeping better at the end of that. And through that is when I discovered ultramarathon running. And so I noticed through running a lot and eating super clean, my inflammation was really low. I was working on hydration and all these different aspects that needed, as Jessie said, the puzzle pieces that needed to be in place to be an endurance athlete. And I was pulling on all those threads and learning as I was going, and Jessie was helping me learn as I was going. And during the same wave of time period in my life, I was also really learning about morning routine. I was learning about meditation and visualization and journaling, and those things starting off my day intentionally was having just as big of an impact on me. And what I didn't realize is I was building this new mindset. I was building the grit muscle through ultra running, but I was also building this mindset, this resiliency that allowed me to have the belief system. It improved my self-talk, which self-talk is everything. How we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anybody else. Mm-hmm. And when you're saying positive things to yourself, positive things happen. And 3x5 life wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for ultra running. And it sounds so counterintuitive. How does one connect to the other? But they all connect when you have that belief system. So that's what we're going to be diving into this podcast a lot. It is mindset, is mindfulness, wellness, habit change. I'm huge on habit change.
That's a superpower of Bry's. And I was just thinking about when you were talking about energy, like when Bryan first started running, he would go out for runs. And I think for you, your running is such that time to like get your thoughts in check. And you have all these creative ideas. Bryan has this really creative streak to him. And he would come home, mind you, he's doing runs at like 4:30 in the morning. And like, I'm just getting up with the kids. And he'd be like, he'd fly through the door and he'd be like, Jessie! And like, he'd just have like a million things like that. He would just like pour out. And I mean, I saw such a shift in you when you started running. It was really awesome to watch, and still continuing to see as you just went for a 20-mile run this morning before we even woke up.
Lots of ideas came from that. And
you did. You said, I can't wait to talk to you about everything I thought of. So we're excited to use this outlet to talk about all Bry's crazy ideas.
Yeah, there we go. Get ready.
Get ready.
Yeah, so to wrap this up, though, I mean, that's a small, quick introduction to our stories. As this podcast continues, we'll kind of elaborate more on those, but we wanted to kind of keep this short and sweet. And, you know, thank you for being part of this journey. It's a ton of fun for us. We both have similar views, but come from certain things at different angles. So I think we'll give different perspectives on very similar topics.
That's the hope.
Yeah, so if you have any questions,
the Facebook community, we're on Instagram and Facebook. We love interacting in the community. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure that you do. If there's something that you want us to talk about, we would love to hear that. Yeah, we're excited.
Here we go.
Can we do 3x5 podcast? Out.
Here we go. Out. See you guys.
Hello world, wake me up to another good